The story starts and we see a woman who lives in a very big house in a very small place. Immediately after this, in the same house, a woman screams and wakes up. She is very scared. Maybe she had a very bad dream. Her name is Grace. She lives in this big house with her two children, Anne and Nicholas. It's shown outside the house that 3 people come here. All 3 of them have come here to work. The name of the biggest lady in them is Mrs. Mills. The man's name is Mr. Tuttle. And the girl's name is Lydia. Lydia can't speak. But Mrs. Mills tells Grace, the owner of this house, that she is much older than she looks. Actually, what she means to say is that she is very good at her job. After this, Grace starts showing them the house. She says that the house is completely scattered. I don't know where all the servants went a week ago. They didn't even take their salary. Grace tells them that there are 50 doors in this house, and they have 15 keys, and you can't open the other door until you lock the first one. Actually, this is the rule of this house. Grace also tells them that there is no telephone, no TV, no radio in this house because we have complete silence here, and there is no electricity here either. And the reason for this is that when the Germans cut off all the electricity, we were without electricity for a long time, and now we are used to it. And now she takes these 3 to meet her children. But before going to their room, she tells them to put curtains all around, and by putting curtains all around, it becomes completely dark in the room. Grace lights a lamp and takes these 3 to her children's room, where these 3 meet Anne and Nicholas. Grace tells them that my 2 children are photosensitive. That means they are allergic to light. That's why we always have to keep it dark inside the house. Even the doctors have not been able to find a cure for them. And my husband had gone to war a year and a half ago. Although now the World War is over, but he never came back. They didn't know anything. Now all 3 of them start working in this house, and one day Grace hears her child crying. She runs to her little son Nicholas's room, but he is studying. He says, "Mom, I'm not crying." And Grace thinks that this was my daughter. She runs to her daughter's room, and there she sees that Anne is not crying either. She tells Anne that you were crying. Anne says, "No, it wasn't me, but it was Victor." Hearing this name, Grace is completely surprised. She says, "Who is Victor?" Anne says that the boy who was here a while ago, he was crying because he had to leave his house. And he doesn't like this place at all. His father is a pianist. I told him that you are not allowed to play the piano at all. Grace asks where his father is. Anne says that he is sitting outside in the hall. Grace says that I have just come from there. And there was no one there. And if a child named Victor was crying here, then where did he go? Anne says that he went out. Grace is angry about this. She says that how can a child go inside and outside the room? While all the doors are closed, and then she looks at the door. So there is an open door there. And she calls her 3 servants because she thinks that one of these 3 has left the door open. And she scolds those 3 a lot. But they say that we didn't go to that room where the door was open at night when Anne and her brother Nicholas were eating. So Nicholas asks his sister Anne, "Did you really see a boy named Victor?" She says, "Yes, I saw him." Nicholas says that I don't believe you. Anne says that when we start playing very soon, then you will yearn to play with us, and at night when these 2 are preparing to sleep in their room. Then Anne tells her brother Nicholas, "Would you like to meet Victor? He is around here." Nicholas is afraid of this, and he hides his face. Anne says that you are a coward. And after this, she starts talking to someone in that dark room. Nicholas also hears the voice of a boy. But he thinks that Anne is talking to herself by changing her voice to scare him. Nicholas says that if you don't stop changing your voice, then I will complain to your mother. Anne tells Victor that you have to make my brother realize his presence. You touch his cheek, and then someone touches Nicholas's cheek, with which he gets very scared and starts screaming, and there their mother Grace comes, and Grace scolds her daughter Anne a lot. She says that I don't know when you will change. I have told you so many times that you don't have to do this. Your younger brother is so scared. But Anne says that I didn't scare him. His cheek was touched by Victor. But Anne's mother, Grace, is completely sure that she is lying. There is no boy named Victor here. That's why she asked her daughter to apologize. But Anne clearly refuses. She says that whatever I said is true. Grace says that until you don't apologize, you have to read the Bible. And she tells her to read the Bible on the stairs. And for the next 3 days, she keeps reading the Bible because she doesn't want to apologize. And when Grace is sitting on a chair in the room and doing embroidery in a cloth, then she hears a voice from above. She thinks that this is the girl who works at her house, who can't speak. Her name is Lydia. But when she looks out of the window, she sees that Mrs. Mills and Lydia are there. She gets scared of this, and then the swing starts moving in the room. She runs out where her daughter Anne is reading the Bible sitting on the stairs, and she asks her daughter, "Tell me who is here." Anne says that I can't tell you because I told you the truth earlier, and in return you punished me. Her mom, Grace, says that tell me, I want to know the truth. Who is here? And Anne points to a junk room. She says that someone is there. And Grace goes to that room where all the stuff is covered with white clothes. And she realizes that someone is here. She removes all the clothes, but she doesn't see anything around. And when she looks in the mirror, she sees the door moving. She runs out of that room where her daughter Anne is. She asked her daughter where she went. Anne says that, didn't you see her? She is all around, and she was saying that this house is hers and all the curtains here. She is going to remove all the curtains. Grace gets very worried about this because she hears someone walking, and the door is opening and closing, but she doesn't see anyone here. And then Anne shows a sketch to her mom. She says that I made this yesterday. There is a whole family in this. Anne says that this is the husband, this is the wife, and this little child, this is Victor. And there is a sketch of an old lady in this. There is a number written on each of these sketches. Grace asks her daughter, "What is the meaning of these numbers?" Anne says that I have written the same number on whoever I have seen. And Anne has seen the old lady the most here because number 14 is written on her. Anne says that this old lady is the most dangerous. She never looks at us, but she is always looking at us. And she keeps telling me to come with her. And Victor told me that she is a witch, and now Grace has understood so much. That there is someone else in this house besides her, and she tells her servants that we have to search the whole house. And everyone starts searching the house. And when Grace is searching the house, she finds an album there. That's when Mrs. Mills comes there, and Grace asks her that all the photos of people in this album, they are all sleeping. Who are these? Mrs. Mills says that these people are not sleeping. In fact, all these people are dead. That is, this is the album of the dead. I think there were some people in the last century who used to take their photos after the death of humans and used to put it in the album because they believed that their soul can live through these photos. Grace is afraid of this. She says that I don't want to live in this house. And at night when she is sitting with Mrs. Mills, then she asked Mrs. Mills, "Tell me that when you used to work in this house, how was the environment here then?" Actually, Mrs. Mills, Mr. Tuttle, and Lydia, all three of them used to work here before, when the owner of this house was someone else. Mrs. Mills says that at that time, 15 servants used to work in this house, and I was their head. After this, the owner of this house shifted to London. His coming here slowly became less, and this house became completely empty. And in the end, I, Mr. Tuttle, and Lydia, all three of us survived here. Grace asks, how did Lydia's voice go? She says that one day she stopped talking to herself. Grace says that no such person stops talking. There must be some reason behind it. But Mrs. Mills does not give any answer to this. She tells Grace that due to tuberculosis, I had to leave this house. At that time, this island was almost completely empty. But sometimes there are some things in your life which always stay with you. And this house was also like this for me. After this, Mrs. Mills goes to sleep. And when Grace is sitting here, then she hears the sound of the piano, and she goes to that room where the piano is. And when she opens the door and goes inside, there is no one there. But the lid of the piano is open. She closes it and locks it, and she comes out of the room. And then she sees that someone has closed the room from inside. She starts screaming loudly. Mrs. Mills comes running there. And after this, she opens the room again with the key. And Grace sees that the lid of the piano, she had closed it a few seconds ago. It is open again. And she gets scared of this, and she tells Mrs. Mills that there is someone else in this house, and I know that he is not human. After this, Grace leaves the house. She says that I am going to the nearby village where the priest lives, and I will bring the priest of the church here. Mrs. Mills tries to stop her. She says that it is very cold right now. You should stay for a few more days. But Grace does not want to stay at any cost. Mr. Tuttle is also working there. Actually, he is a gardener here. And Grace tells Mr. Tuttle that my husband had told me that there is a cemetery here. You check all around. Where is that cemetery? Mr. Tuttle says that I have seen all around, but I have not seen any cemetery here. Grace says that it is possible that the trees and plants have grown up, and they have hidden it from view. You will have to look very carefully once again. Is there any family buried here? Whose child's name is Victor? In saying this, Grace leaves there. And then Mrs. Mills comes to Mr. Tuttle, and she says to Mr. Tuttle that Grace feels that this house is haunted. Mr. Tuttle says to Mrs. Mills, "Is it safe to let her go from here?" Mrs. Mills says that you do not worry. There is a lot of fog here. She will not be able to go very far. And immediately after this, she points to Mr. Tuttle and tells him, "Look there." He sees a stone there, and he quickly hides that stone with dry leaves. It seems like this is someone's grave. At the same time, it is shown in the jungle that Grace is moving towards the village. And then she sees a shadow rising from the fog. And when she sees him, then he is her husband, who had never returned from the war. And Grace thought that he was no longer in this world. She is very happy to see her husband. She hugs him. She says that we thought that you are no longer in this world, and then she brings her husband home. After coming home, Charles is very happy to see his children. He hugs them. And when they were having dinner at night, Charles was not there because he was sleeping. And then Anne tells her mother, "What about that family? Who lives with us in our house?" Grace tells Anne that there is nothing like that, because Grace has never seen anyone. She has only felt, and she tells Anne, "No one will talk about this here." Anne wants to say a lot, but Grace does not let her say anything. She scolds her and tells her to go to her room. And when she is going to her room crying, that's when Mrs. Mills tells her, "I know what you are saying, because the ones you have seen, I have also seen them." Anne says that you should tell my mother everything. She will believe you. Mrs. Mills says that she does not want to believe many things. But today or tomorrow, everything will change, and your mother will have to believe these things. The next day, Grace puts on a wedding dress for her daughter Anne, which she has made for her. Anne is very happy wearing this dress. Grace leaves from there, and after a while she comes back there after hearing Anne's song, and she sees that the face behind the net of the dress, it is not of her daughter Anne, but of an old woman, whose eyes are also very strange. Seeing this, Grace attacks her, but as soon as the veil moves from Anne's face, she sees that her daughter is behind that veil. And now Mrs. Mills also comes here, and Anne tells Mrs. Mills that my mother wants to kill me because she is a devil. After this, Anne comes to her room, where her younger brother Nicholas is also there. Nicholas asks Anne what happened. She says that my mother attacked me. She has gone mad, the way she was before. Do you remember that night? Nicholas says that I don't remember anything. On the other hand, it is shown that Grace is with her husband Charles, and she says that you know, that I did not do anything deliberately. But here Charles is completely changed. He seems completely distant. It seems as if he does not believe in some things. He is not giving a good answer to anything. He says that I am here to say goodbye to my family. I have to go. Grace says that where do you want to go? He says that to the front, where the war is going on. Grace says that, what are you saying? The war is long over. And you had left us all before. We all needed you. We loved you. I had to live in so much darkness without you. You can never even think. After hearing all this, Charles becomes very emotional. He has tears in his eyes, and after this, he goes to sleep with his wife Grace. And when Grace opens her eyes in the morning, she sees that Charles is not there. Actually, he has gone back. On the other side, Anne opens her eyes, and she screams loudly because all the curtains of the windows here, all of them have been removed by someone. Grace comes running there and tries to hide her children in the dark, but there are no curtains anywhere at home. She somehow leaves her children in a dark place and goes to her servant's house. She says that, where did all the curtains of the house go? Mrs. Mills says that we don't know. Mr. Tuttle is also there. He says that why would anyone want to take the curtains of the house? Mrs. Mills says that maybe for daylight. Grace says that someone wants to kill my children. Mrs. Mills says that why do you think that your children will die from daylight? And now Grace is completely convinced that all three of them are doing something here. She points a gun at them. She says that I don't want to go back to my house. She says that give me the keys of the house. I will find the curtains and put them in this house again. And she takes the keys from them and takes them out of the house. Mrs. Mills tells Mr. Tuttle outside the house that the graves that we have hidden under the leaves, it is time to remove the leaves from those graves. Now it is night. And where Anne and Nicholas are sitting inside the house, Nicholas asks his sister Anne, "What is Mom doing? Why is there so much noise? Why is Mom coming out of the house?" Anne tells her brother that she has gone mad. "As I told you, and now it is night anyway, there is no sunlight outside, and I am going to the jungle to find Dad," and she leaves with her brother from there. Grace is still looking for the curtains in the same house. And then she gets a photo, and this photo is from the same album, in which all the dead people's photos are there. Then in it, Mrs. Mills, Mr. Tuttle, and Lydia's photo is there. All three of them are dead in that photo. Seeing this, she is completely shocked. It is shown in the same jungle that Anne and her brother Nicholas see 3 graves. Anne runs to those graves, and she sees that on those graves, the names of those 3 servants are written, who still work at their house. And Anne understands that they are not humans, but they are souls. And then Anne looks at her brother, and she sees that those 3 servants standing behind her brother. And she tells her brother to run away from here. And they both run away from here. By then, Anne's mother, Grace, also comes out. She has a gun in her hand. She says, "Don't go ahead." Mrs. Mills says that 50 years ago. Because of tuberculosis. The 3 of us died. Grace also shoots them. But they are souls. No bullets can affect them. And after this, Grace comes inside the house with her children. And outside the door of the house, Mrs. Mills, Mr. Tuttle, and Lydia are standing. They say, "Let us come inside." Grace sends her children upstairs, and she tells these 3, "Leave us alone here," Mrs. Mills says. "We have to learn to live here, humans and souls together." Grace says, "You are dead." "Why don't you leave us alone here?" Mrs. Mills says, "If we go from here, if we leave you here, what do you think? Will they leave you?" Grace says, "Who?" Mrs. Mills says, "Those people who are forced to live in this house. And now they are inside this house, with you and your children, and you believe me. Today or tomorrow they will find you." It is shown in the room upstairs, where Anne and her younger brother Nicholas are hiding. They hear a voice, "Come with us," and then the door opens, and an old woman comes there, which Anne has seen many times before. She shouts loudly, and listening to her voice, Grace gets scared. Mrs. Mills says, "Those people have found them, who live in this house, and now we can't do anything. You will have to go upstairs. You will have to talk to them." And now Grace is slowly moving towards the room where her children are. And when she goes to that room, she sees 5 people there, sitting on a table, and there are her children and her daughter Anne, standing behind an old woman. This is the same old woman, which Anne sees again and again. And that old woman asks Anne, "Tell me what happened in this room." Anne says something in her ear. That old woman says, "Your mother had killed you with a pillow. If you are not alive, then why don't you go from here? What are you doing here?" And listening to this, Anne, her brother Nicholas, and Anne's mom, all 3 of them start shouting that we are alive, we are not dead. And Grace starts tearing the papers on their table. And after a few moments, these 5 people remain in this room who are sitting around the table. And that old woman, who was talking to Anne, it seems that she was in some other world, and now she has come back to her world. And she tells the other 4 people here that a woman and her 2 children live here. There is a woman among these 5 people who is Victor's mother. Victor is the same child, which Anne sees again and again, about which Anne has told her mother. Grace, Victor's mother, says that tomorrow morning, "We will leave this house forever," and Victor's father also agrees to this. And after this, it is shown that Grace is hugging her 2 children and crying. And now she too would have known everything. She would have remembered everything. And she tells her 2 children, crying, that "I killed you both. And after that, I shot my head and committed suicide. But then I heard your laughter. And when I came to the room, you 2 were playing, and I felt that God returned my children to me again. And I decided that I will become a good mother. And now when we know all the truth, then none of these things makes any sense. Where are we? That's when Mrs. Mills comes there. And she says that Lydia too asked the same question for the last time, when she found out that we are all dead. After that, she never said anything. Mrs. Mills says that tomorrow, this family's leaving here, but other people will definitely stay here. Sometimes we can feel humans. And sometimes it happens that we do not know their presence. Mrs. Mills leaves from there. Grace actually killed herself and her children. Because in the World War, her husband died, because of which she was completely frustrated. And before killing herself, she killed her children and Grace's husband, Charles, who came back to this house. Actually, he was his soul. His soul wanted to see his family for the last time. That's why he came back here in the next morning. It is shown that. Now Grace's children also go in the light. There is no curtain at home, because Grace now knows that they are souls in Victor's family who are humans. They are leaving from here. Victor is standing down and looking up at the window where Grace and her 2 children are, and it seems like Victor can see this whole family. And after this, Victor leaves with his family, and in the end, Grace says that this is our house, and no one can take us out of here. There is a big suspense in this story, which opens in the end. But from this story, we get the biggest lesson. Life is about living, not to kill it. And this story ends here. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching.